Welcome to DJ's Dancefloors and I Do's, the podcast that helps engaged couples like you plan an unforgettable wedding day, one beat at a time. Hello there, I'm your host, Shane Griffin, professional wedding DJ and MC with over 20 years experience, and right here, I share real advice, smart planning tips, and behind-the-booth insights to help you feel confident, organized, and ready to celebrate your big day. Congratulations! Whether you're just starting out or deep into wedding planning, you are in the right place. Thanks for being here. Before we get started with today's episode, a couple of quick reminders. First, check us out on Facebook and Instagram at Shane Griffin Entertainment, and also find us on TikTok at Let Shane Entertain. Secondly, like and subscribe this podcast so you can be alerted when new episodes drop. And third, check our website, letshaneentertain.com, where you can find our list of entertainers, pricing, our informative blog, and our vendor referral partners. Everything you need to help you make informed entertainment decisions. And lastly, I've developed a free ebook, and it's titled The Bride's Guide to Wedding DJs, and it's available to you for free, no strings attached. If you'd like a copy emailed to you, simply send me an email, shanegriffinentertainment@gmail.com. That's shanegriffinentertainment@gmail.com, and I'll send it right out to you. All right, let's jump into episode 19, why wedding guests leave early and how to keep them until the end. Every couple dreams of looking around their reception and seeing a room full of smiling faces from beginning to end. Nobody spends months planning a wedding hoping guests head for the exits halfway through the night. Yet, sadly, it does happen. As a wedding DJ, I have a front row seat to hundreds of receptions, and over the years, I've noticed something interesting. Guests rarely leave because they're bored by one single thing. Instead, it's usually a combination of small decisions that slowly kind of chip away at the energy of the evening. The good news, though, most of those decisions are completely within your control. Today, we're going to talk about why guests leave early, and more importantly, what you can do to keep them celebrating with you until the very last song of the night. So let's start with reason number one. The reception simply takes too long to get going. I've seen receptions where guests arrive early. They're excited, they're ready to go, ready to celebrate, and then they wait. And wait. Cocktail hour runs 90 minutes. Dinner is delayed by 30 minutes. There are multiple speeches that take another 45 minutes. Then several presentations happen. Then you got to cut the cake. There's more announcements. Before anyone has a chance to hit the dance floor, 3 hours have gone by. Energy doesn't stay high forever. Momentum is something that you build over the course of the night, but it's also something that you can lose pretty quickly. One of the best things you can do is keep your reception moving. Now, I'm not saying rushed, just intentionally moving. Here's a real-world example. A few years ago, I worked with a couple who wanted nearly every traditional wedding activity you could think of. Now, nothing wrong with that, but by the time we finished introductions, dinner, 7 toasts, parent dances, cake cutting, bouquet toss, anniversary dance, a surprise slideshow, open dancing didn't begin until almost 9:15, and the party was only slated to go until 10:30. Within 30 minutes, many of the older guests had already left. The dance floor eventually filled up, but it never really reached the energy it could have if we had opened it earlier. Contrast that with another wedding where formalities, they were completed efficiently and early, and dancing started while the room was still full and guests stayed until the very end because the energy never had a chance to disappear. Like what you hear so far? Then give us a like and be sure to subscribe. If you're a newly engaged couple, this podcast, DJ's Dancefloors and I Do's, was built specifically for you, and today we're discussing why wedding guests leave early and how to keep them until the end. Let's talk about reason number 2. Guests get hungry. I can relate to this one. It's obvious, but it happens more often than you might think. If guests attended your ceremony, traveled to the venue, enjoyed cocktail hour, and then wait another hour before dinner is served, they're ready to eat. Hungry guests become distracted and bored guests. And distracted and bored guests aren't focused on celebrating. They're focused on the food. Now, work closely with your planner caterer, and DJ to make sure dinner happens at an appropriate time. It may seem like a small detail to you, but feeding your guests on time is one of the easiest ways to improve the overall experience. Trust me. Now let's move to reason number 3. Too many interruptions. Think about your favorite movie. Imagine someone pressing the pause button every 5 minutes. Eventually, you're going to lose interest. Well, the same thing can happen at a wedding reception. Every announcement, every game, speech, every activity stops the momentum in its tracks, and that doesn't mean you shouldn't have those moments. Many of them are very meaningful. The key is to be intentional. Ask yourself, does this add to the experience? If the answer is yes, certainly include it. If not, it may be something you can simplify or eliminate altogether. Your guests will appreciate a celebration that flows naturally instead of constantly stopping and starting and stopping and starting again. Now let's talk about reason number 4. Music that doesn't connect with the crowd. This is where your DJ plays an important role, a critical role, dare I say. One of the biggest misconceptions couples have is that the DJ simply plays songs from a playlist. In reality, a professional DJ reads the room. We're constantly scanning the dance floor, watching the body language, watching the age groups, watching what is working and watching what is not, and then adjusting in real time. The goal isn't to play your favorite songs. The goal is to create moments that bring people together. And sometimes that means playing songs you didn't expect because they're exactly what your guests need in that moment. And that's the difference between simply pressing play and creating an experience. Let's move to reason number 5. Guests don't feel included. Think about your guest list. You probably have grandparents, college friends, co-workers, neighbors, maybe young kids, teenagers, people from different parts of your life who may have never met each other before. The best receptions create moments where everyone feels like they're part of the celebration. Maybe it's a song that gets every generation singing along. Maybe it's a group dance, participation dances. Maybe it's simply a great MC who keeps guests informed and involved. When people feel included, they stay engaged. And when they're engaged and full, they're much more likely to stay until the end. Now let's talk about another reason guests leave early. The room isn't comfortable. This one doesn't get talked about very often, but it's real. If the room is too hot, people will leave the dance floor. If the music is painfully loud, they will leave the dance floor. People head outside to talk and get away from the loud music. If there's nowhere comfortable to sit and visit, guests may decide to head home instead. The best receptions create an environment where guests can move naturally between dancing and socializing and eating and relaxing, and comfort plays a bigger role than many couples actually realize. Now let's talk about alcohol. Some couples assume an open bar automatically creates an incredible party. The truth? Alcohol can help people relax, but alcohol doesn't create energy. The atmosphere is what creates the energy. I've seen receptions with full open bars where the dance floor never really got going. And I've seen some dry weddings where guests danced for hours on end. Why? Because the entertainment, the timeline, and the atmosphere were all working together. Do not rely on alcohol to create your reception. Build an experience people want to be a part of. Here's another real-world example. A couple of years ago, I worked a wedding where the couple was worried because they weren't offering a full open bar. They must have asked me 10 times before the reception started, "Do you think people are going to leave early because of no open bar?" I told them, let's focus on giving your guests a great experience instead. We kept the timeline moving. Dinner was served on time. The speeches were meaningful but concise. We opened the dance floor while the room was still full, and the couple spent time on the dance floor instead of disappearing for long periods of time. When the bride and groom are on the dance floor, the crowd will follow. The result? The guests stayed. The dance floor stayed packed. Boy, that was a fun night. And when we hit the final song, there were still dozens of people singing at the top of their lungs. That wedding reminded me of something I've seen over and over again. People don't remember whether they had 3 signature cocktails are for. People remember how your wedding made them feel. Now let's talk one final reason guests leave early. The couple disappears. I mentioned this a second ago. This happens more often than you might think. The bride and groom step away for sunset photos. Now, nothing wrong with that. They're being pulled in 10 different directions, and before you know it, they've missed an hour of their own reception. And here's the thing. Your guests came to celebrate you. When you're present, smiling, laughing, and dancing, that energy spreads throughout the room. When you're absent for long periods of time, the energy naturally will drop. Now, I'm not saying don't take sunset photos or visit your guests. Absolutely do those things. Just be intentional. Your presence is one of the biggest factors in creating an unforgettable reception. I repeat, your presence is one of the biggest factors in creating an unforgettable reception. Now, before we wrap up today, let's quickly review the biggest reasons guests leave early. The reception takes too long to get started. Dinner is delayed. There are too many interruptions. The music doesn't connect to the crowd. Guests don't feel included. The room isn't comfortable. The couple relies on alcohol instead of atmosphere. And perhaps most importantly, the bride and groom spend too much time away from their own celebration. Every one of these things is manageable with thoughtful planning. And here's what I've learned after more than 20 years behind the DJ booth. Guests don't expect perfection. They simply want to have fun. They want to celebrate. They want to laugh and dance and reconnect with family, create memories. When your wedding is built around those experiences instead of checking boxes, something amazing happens. People don't start looking at their watches. They start asking for one more song. Thanks so much for listening today. I truly appreciate it. Here's my final thought for you. A packed reception isn't created by accident. It's created by intentional planning, great entertainment, smart timing, and a couple who truly enjoys celebrating with their guests. Focus less on creating a perfect wedding and more on creating an unforgettable experience. Trust me, if you do that, your guests won't be looking for the exit sign. They'll be hoping the night never ends. Thanks for listening to DJ's Dance Floors and I Do's. If today's episode helped you feel more confident about your wedding entertainment plans, I'd love for you to follow this podcast, leave us a review, or share it with someone that is newly engaged. Our goal here is to provide free, unbiased content to help you make better entertainment decisions. DJ's Dance Floors and I Do's is a presentation of Shane Griffin Entertainment, produced by Rob Duran. Check us out on social, Facebook, and Instagram at Shane Griffin Entertainment, and on TikTok at Let Shane Entertain. Also, be sure to visit our website, letshaneentertain.com. A final reminder about our free ebook titled The Bride's Guide to Wedding DJs. To request your free copy, simply send me an email, shanegriffinentertainment@gmail.com, and I'll send it right out to you, no strings attached. Join us next time for episode 20, Wedding Traditions You Can Skip Without Regretting It. Until then, cheers!